While Joseph was in prison, the king of Egypt had his steward and chief baker thrown into the same prison for offending him. One night, there in the same prison, the wine steward and the chief baker each had a dream, and their dreams had different meanings. When Joseph came to them in the morning, he saw that they were upset and asked why. They told him they each had a dream, and no one can interpret their dreams for them.
It is God who gives the ability to interpret dreams. Tell me your dreams,
said Joseph. Then the steward said,
In my dream, there was a grapevine in front of me with 3 branches. As soon as the leaves came out, the blossoms appeared and the grapes ripened. I was holding the king's cup, so I took the grapes, squeezed them into the cup, and gave it to him.
And Joseph said,
The 3 branches are 3 days. In 3 days Pharaoh will pardon you and restore you to your position as his wine steward. Please remember me when everything is going well for you. I was kidnapped from the land of the Hebrews, and even here in Egypt I've done nothing wrong to be in prison.
Then the chief baker said, I also had a dream. I was carrying 3 bread baskets on my head. In the top basket were all kinds of pastries for the king, and the birds came and ate them.
The 3 baskets are 3 days. In 3 days Pharaoh will cut off your head and hang your body on a pole. The birds will eat your flesh,
said Joseph. 3 days later, on Pharaoh's birthday, he released both men. He restored the wine steward to his position, but executed the chief baker, just as Joseph had said. But the wine steward forgot all about Joseph. 2 years later, Pharaoh had a dream. No one could interpret it, not even the magicians of Egypt. Then the steward remembered Joseph and told the king about him. Then Pharaoh had Joseph brought before him and said,
In my dream, I stood by the Nile River. 7 fat, healthy cows came out of the river and began feeding on the grass. Then 7 thin and ugly cows came out. They were the poorest I have ever seen. The thin cows ate up the fat ones, but they looked just as bad as before. Then I woke up. I also saw 7 full ears of corn growing on one stalk. Then 7 thin ears, scorched by the desert wind, sprouted and swallowed up the good ones. I told the magicians, but none of them could explain it.
And Joseph said,
Both dreams mean the same thing. God has shown you what he is about to do. The 7 fat cows and the 7 good ears of corn are 7 years of abundance. The 7 thin cows and the scorched ears are 7 years of famine. There will be 7 years of plenty in Egypt, followed by 7 years of terrible famine. The famine will be so bad that the good years will be forgotten.
And Joseph continued,
Now, let Pharaoh find a wise and intelligent man to put in charge of the land. Appoint officials to collect 1/5 of the harvest during the 7 good years. Store the food, so that the people will not starve during the famine.
And so began Joseph's journey from prisoner to palace. The king and his officials approved Joseph's plan to rescue the country from an impending famine. We will never find a better man than Joseph, a man who has God's spirit in him, said the official. Then the king said to Joseph,
God has shown you all these things. It is obvious that you have greater wisdom and insight than anyone else. I will put you in charge of my country. All my people will obey your orders. Your authority will be second only to mine. I therefore appoint you governor over all Egypt."
The king removed from his finger the ring engraved with the royal seal and placed it on Joseph's hand. He dressed Joseph in a fine linen robe and placed a gold chain around his neck. He gave him the second royal chariot to ride in, and as Joseph rode through the streets, his guards of honor marched ahead.
Make way, make way, make way, make way! Make way, make way, make way, make way!
And so Joseph was appointed governor over all Egypt.
I am the king, and no one in all Egypt shall lift a hand or a foot without your permission,"
said the king. The king gave Joseph the Egyptian name, Zaphanath-Paneah, and gave him a wife, Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, a priest in the city of Heliopolis. During the 7 years of abundance, the land produced crops in great quantity. Joseph gathered all the surplus and stored it in the cities. In every city, he stored the food from the fields around it. There was so much corn that Joseph stopped keeping count. It was like the sand of the sea. But before the famine came, Joseph and Asenath had 2 sons. Then Joseph said,
God has made me forget all my suffering and all my father's household. I will name my first son Manasseh. God has given me children in the land of my trouble. I will name my second son Ephraim.
Then the 7 years of abundance ended, and the 7 years of famine began, just as Joseph had said. There was famine in every other country, but in Egypt there was food. When the Egyptians grew hungry, they cried out to the king for food. And the king said,
"Go to Joseph. Do whatever he tells you."
As the famine grew worse and spread over the whole country, Joseph opened the storehouses and sold corn to the Egyptians. People came from all over the world to Egypt to buy grain from Joseph, because the famine was severe everywhere.